Today, we are doing something cursed. I combined every division down to 2 teams and essentially built 2 super teams per division. So now every single division has 2 super teams and then 2 teams with all of their best players stripped away. And today we are going to see how these super teams would perform in Madden simulation, and maybe almost more interesting is how these stripped away teams are going to perform compared to the super teams. In other words, this is going to be very interesting. And I'm going to go over all of these rosters in just a second and how I decided what teams to combine. And I want to get into this, so I'm going to keep this intro super short. But the reason we are doing this is because once again, we easily hit the like goal on the video where I said we would do this. And I think the like goal was only 1,000 on that video. So let's see if we can get 1,200 likes on this video. And if we can hit that, and only if we hit that, I have something similar to this planned that would be maybe not as cursed, but equally as fun. I don't know how to explain it without giving it away, but it would be another interesting one. So again, be sure to drop a like. It takes you like 2 seconds, and it really helps out the channel, even though it's so stupid. I very much appreciate it. And we are very close to 25K, like less than 2,000 away. So, you know, if you want to be an OG of the channel while you still can be one, be sure to subscribe. And just if you like Madden rebuilds in general, because that's literally all I do. I have no life. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see more. And let me know any fun rebuild ideas y'all have down below. The next video I'm going to do is one I have planned from a comment. So, you know, if you want to shout out and all that, if you care about that, just let me know any fun rebuild ideas y'all have. But without further ado, let's get into this. And like I said, we will quickly go over the rosters. There are still some players I need to move. Like in my custom rosters, Jonathan Taylor, it was still listed as injured, so I'll have to trade him in franchise over to the Jags. So just imagine him as the running back here. There are a couple others, but he's the, I guess, biggest one. And how I decided this, it wasn't necessarily rocket science. I just paired the team with the highest rated QB in the division with the team with the lowest rated QB in their division. So like I paired the Lions and the Packers, which we'll get to. And how I decided what team to put the players on is just which team I think does the best in simulation. It's hard to say for sure, but you know, I feel like I see the Bears do better than the Vikings a lot of the time. Sometimes I see the Vikings in the Super Bowl, but then sometimes I see them do terrible. That was just my thinking there. But the Bears get Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, literally 3 of their best, or 4 of their 5 best players are all Vikings. Also get TJ Hawkinson, Brian O'Neill, but this is honestly probably one of the worst teams, just because they don't have anyone like absolutely insane other than Justin Jefferson. I mean, they have really good players, but Jefferson's the only insane player. The Bengals and Steelers here, this defense is absurd. Both are already pretty good, and now they just combine their powers. The offense doesn't really change a whole lot, but the defense definitely does. The Bills and Patriots hardly change. It's almost entirely the Bills, but they get Jabril Peppers, Matt Judon, Trent Brown. You know, there's some upgrades here for sure, especially on the O-line, adding 2 new tackles and a new center. But for the most part, this is just the Bills. The Cardinals and Seahawks is also one of the worst teams, I guess. There isn't like a great QB here. There just aren't really any like superstar players here. And honestly, other than Budda Baker, this is mostly just the Seahawks. The Chargers and Broncos is an interesting one. Both of them definitely have good rosters on paper. Just, you know, both were underperforming earlier in the year, but now the Broncos are looking pretty good. The Chargers still not so much, but this creates a crazy team. Both teams kind of have similar issues with their roster though, so there are definitely some overlaps here. Like no amazing tight end. I guess Gerald Everett is pretty good. The D-line isn't great, but combining all these studs together definitely creates a good team. And the Cowboys and Commanders it's mostly the Cowboys, as you would figure, but they add Jonathan Allen. Maybe he would care about football again if he went to a new team, I don't know. Terry McLaurin, that's definitely a huge upgrade here. Kendall Fuller, Cam Curl, there are definitely some Commanders here that help this team out. Jalen Ramsey and Robert Hunt, I'm also going to have to move to their new team. But the Eagles and Giants is one of the better teams here, surprisingly. The Giants don't have a very good roster on paper, but they have a few of like the best players at their position. positions like Dexter Lawrence, maybe the best defensive tackle in the league. Andrew Thomas, when healthy, a monster. Saquon Barkley, when healthy, a monster. Not that the Eagles are necessarily dying for, D-line and like tackle, but Saquon definitely does help. And this, if I had to guess, I would say this might be the best forming team. We will see though. And the Falcons and Bucks is surprisingly good. Kind of the same scenario where they both have really good players on the roster, but they have their problems on both teams. This kind of fixes, the problems of both teams, combining both of them. So really there isn't a major problem with this team anymore other than maybe pass rush outside of Shaq Barrett. And then the Jaguars and Colts, of course we are going to have to add Jonathan Taylor, but the Jags get Quentin Nelson, DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Kenny Moore, Braden Smith, Michael Pittman. This would be a very good team. None of them have, this is probably one of the lowest overall teams, but it's pretty well rounded, I'll say that. There isn't anything here that's like a glaring problem. And then this is another one of the craziest teams. Of course, you have to imagine this with Jalen Ramsey, but the Jets get Tyreek Hill, Teron Armstead, Tua, which I guess they'll have to decide which QB to start, Jalen Waddle, Christian Wilkins, Javon Holland. Like, this team is very good. And then the Packers and Lions, surprisingly to me at least, it's mostly Packers, but they do add Amon-Ra St. Brown, Frank Ragnow, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell. Of course, Jared Goff is going to be their QB. Their receiving core still isn't great. This is probably one of the worst ones, but it's definitely better than the Packers' original receiving core, so I guess they can't really complain too much. The Saints and Panthers also creates a very surprisingly pretty good team. It is mostly Saints players. In fact, you have to go pretty far down to see the first Panther in Brian Burns and then Derek Brown, but it's a pretty good roster. This one might be the worst though, one of the worst, just because their quarterback group isn't great. But hey, you never know. If Bryce Young actually had any slight sliver of help around him, he might do well, so we'll see what happens here. And okay, I take it back. This might be the most insane team. The Raiders and Chiefs is crazy. You have probably the best tight end in the league, a top 3 receiver in the league, the best QB in the NFL, a top 3 at least pass rusher in the NFL, and like a top 3 at least defensive tackle in the NFL. Probably the best running back in the league last year, having a little bit of a down year this year. Maybe the best center in the NFL, at least, well, top 3, we'll say that. This team is ridiculous. They are lacking depth at receiver, I'll say that, but that's like the only weakness of this team. And the defensive line outside of Chris Jones isn't great, but other than that, this team is pretty good. And the secondary isn't like phenomenal or anything, but McDuffie and Snead are both good. But yeah, they have like 7 of the best players at their positions. And here's another insane one, the 49ers and the Rams. The Rams, similar to the Giants, have a lot of very good players. They just have a lot of very big, very bad players starting on their team too. But this definitely fixes that problem because, we have probably maybe the best tackle in the league, maybe the best defensive tackle in the league, probably the best running back in the league, a top 5 pass rusher, a top 5 receiver when healthy, a top 3 tight end, I would say, probably the best linebacker in the league, at least like top 2. This team's insane. And here is my team of choice, another crazy team, the Ravens paired with the Browns. The Ravens get to add Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, Joel Bitonio. They bring back Zadarius Smith, Denzel Ward, Amari Cooper, Wyatt Teller. There isn't really a single problem with this team at all. Everything is good. And now the last team, the Titans paired with Texans. This one isn't great, I'll say that, but it's all right. CJ Stroud is their QB. They have Derrick Henry, of course. The O-line isn't the best other than Laramie Tunsil and I guess Shaq Mason. This team just has a very big lack of, I guess, monster players. I mean, there are 4 players in 89 or higher, but there's a big fall off after that. So I know I spent a long time on that, but I wanted to go over that, and I'll have to move some of these players around. So let me do that real quick. Okay, well, I moved all the players to the right team. That took way too long. That genuinely took me it took me over an hour. They make everything so unuser-friendly in this game, but oh well. And I decided, instead of using the best team in the Ravens, I guess they were also tied with the Eagles. Let's use the worst combined team in the Titans with the Texans at only an 82. It said they were an 83 a second ago. I don't know what I did. Apparently I messed something up. I didn't change anything though. But yeah, I see why this is the worst team. The line isn't great. Honestly, most things on this team aren't great. So this is going to be our team of choice for the rebuild portion of this. But let's finally get into the simulation and we will see how the teams are doing at the midseason point. Okay, well, at the midseason point, we are 6-0. The Falcons are also 6-1. And you know what? The simulation is looking pretty good, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be a very every team is average type thing, even though that's not how it should be, but no, it looks like the good teams are doing good and the bad teams are doing bad for the most part. Now that I say that though, I see some interesting stuff. I see the Jets and Packers are only 3-3, but the Steelers and Bucks with none of their players are 3-3. The Panthers are 6-0, which, you know, they were an okay team, but definitely not one of the better, you know, combined teams. The Raiders are somehow only 4-3 with a God squad. Interesting stuff happening here. For sure. It isn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it's not great for some of them. Also, the Broncos are 5-2. Okay, maybe it is pretty terrible because they're one of the teams that got destroyed unless they signed some players, because, you know, a lot of these rosters were really full. Maybe they signed some pretty good players. It's not a great team, but yeah, I guess they signed some players that ended up getting cut from some rosters being too full. I don't know if that's a 5-2 team, especially with some of the roster talent here, but hey, what do I know? We have some players to re-sign for this team though, and unfortunately, Derrick Henry for some reason isn't interested. That's like worst case scenario. We'll offer him 5 years, 96 mil though, and he doesn't take it. We'll probably tag him though. That's probably what we'll have to do. Sean Murphy Bunting will re-sign 3 years, 24 mil. Did that just say he doesn't like anything about the offer? I clicked through it too quick. I'm gonna scream. 4 years, 47 mil for Dalton Schultz. He takes it, and we're gonna have to be really picky about who we want back here because we don't have that much money, but there are obviously some pretty good players back here. I guess we'll try to re-sign Tier Tart, 2 years, 17 mil, and he re-signs, and that's all we're gonna be able to do for now. But all those don't really matter right now because we're not in the rebuild portion of this yet. We're just seeing what'll happen if we build all these God squads. So with that, let's get to the end of the season. We'll see if any of the, you know, destroyed teams somehow make the playoffs. It looks like the Broncos probably will somehow, and we'll see if any of the, you know, super teams don't make the playoff, or I guess which ones don't. So let's see what happens. And in year number 1, we do make the playoffs as the Titans, going 15-2. I don't know if this team was that good. Maybe we just didn't play many teams that have a super good roster, but, you know, we did well. And the playoffs actually look pretty good. It looks like it's all teams that have a really good roster. I am surprised. Ooh, did somebody go 17-0? I see the 16-1 Panthers are only a wild card team. So either another team went 16-1 or did we have a 17-0? Let's find out. Okay, well, that's kind of disappointing. We had two 16-1 teams. The Eagles also went 16-1. I don't know how the Panthers went 16-1, but oh well. Now, what was the bad team with the best record? The Broncos going 11-6. They didn't make the playoffs, but I don't know how they went 11-6 to begin with, and it looks like the worst team with a good roster was the Bears, going only 8-9. That's kind of surprising. I mean, I guess their roster wasn't the best, but they had Justin Jefferson. They didn't even have a winning record. I mean, they had 2 less wins than the Broncos, who lost all of their players. And the Jags also were pretty bad, going only 9-8 and missing the playoffs. But it looks like those were the only 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs out of the good ones. So that's interesting. But let's check out our season stats real quick. I might go quickly through, you know, who was the best at every position. CJ Stroud was really good. Only threw 2 interceptions, 27 touchdowns, not a whole lot of passing, so not a whole lot of yards, but good season overall. Derrick Henry, almost 1,900 yards, 6 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns, 1,350 yards and 11 touchdowns for D-Hop. Outside of him, not much receiving, obviously. George Fant was pretty terrible, but the rest of the line held up really well. Aaron Brewer joins the all-castration team, which, if you don't know, is my imaginary list of players that don't allow a sack in a season. And then Denzel Perriman leads the team in tackles with 125, tackles for loss 17 for Simmons, 11 for Danico Autry, and sacks 9 from Jonathan Grenard, but outside of him, only 3.5 for Will Anderson. That's not great. And interceptions, 3 for Tavier Thomas, 2 for Perriman, Edmonds, and Nelson, and then 1 for a few players. I guess quickly we will go through some of the stats. I'm not going to spend too long on this, but it looks like Joe Burrow might have been the best passer this year. 76% completion percentage. Same with Lamar. Some really high completion percentages this year. 74 from Lawrence, 73 from Mahomes. Good lord. But Matt Stafford had the most passing touchdowns with 42. It looks like Dak did really well. Justin Herbert did well. I want to see some of the bad ones, though. Ooh. Zach Wilson, 2,200 yards, 55% completion percentage, 7 touchdowns, and 22 interceptions. Yikes. And it looks like they probably benched him for Mike White at some point. He did terribly, too. Marcus Mariota did really bad. Drew Lock did really bad. Mitch Trubisky, respect Teddy Bridgewater. What the hell? My GOAT. Definitely some interesting numbers here. Trey Lance didn't do too bad, all things considered. Kyle Trask, I guess. Oh, okay, that's interesting. We cut Ryan Tannehill because, like, he was expensive, and this team had, like, negative 60 mil in cap, so I wanted to save some. And it looks like he was part of the Broncos' success. That's interesting. And then Derrick Henry led the team in rushing. Number 2 was Saquon. Josh Jacobs also up there. Nick Chubb. Makes sense. Most receiving yards went to Cooper Kupp, it looks like. CeeDee Lamb also did really well. Tyreek Hill, also top 3. And then for sacks, Aaron Donald with 24, 19 for Cam Jordan. We got a lot of old players up here. Brandon Graham with 12.5. Micah Parsons with 16.5. Von Miller with 17. What year is it? Joey Bosa with 15.5. Max Crosby. These are weird numbers. Even though we did weird stuff, this is still really weird. Like, I don't know about that. And then most interceptions was Pat Surtain with 7. Mike Edwards, Joey Porter, and Cam Sutton. Interesting players there, all had 6. What interesting numbers those were. MVP, my guess, is going to be probably Joe Burrow. No, it's Dak. Burrow all the way down at 3. That's interesting. Lamar at 2. Stafford at 4. Hurts at 5. Interesting list. AFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Nick Chubb. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Josh Allen. AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to CJ Stroud. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Joey Porter Jr. now on the Bengals. And then NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Cooper Kupp. Aaron Donald for Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Bijan. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Brian Branch now on the Packers. What an interesting simulation this was. I'm kind of surprised there was no undefeated team, but I guess even like the best rosters still have to face some other really good teams, you know? So it makes sense, but I'm a little surprised. I guess 2 teams got really close going 16-1, but let's get to the Super Bowl and we will see who's going to be in it. It's going to be the Eagles versus the Raiders in the Super Bowl. I'm kind of surprised to see the Eagles, but I don't know. The Panthers are just always broken in this game, and you know, we only gave them more players. Same with the Falcons, low-key. Did I give the Falcons? Who did I give the Falcons? What team did I combine them with? Was it it was the Bucks, I think, right? Yeah, so I'm also kind of surprised to not see them in the Super Bowl, but the Eagles are usually, you know, really good in this game too, and they get Saquon Barkley, which running back is way too important in this game, so I guess it makes sense that they're there. I mean, those were 2 of the best rushing teams in the league. You know, I think Saquon was 2nd for yards, Josh Jacobs was 3rd, and those are the 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Just further proving my theory that a good running back is the best thing you can add to a team in this game. But we have an upgrade for CJ Stroud here. I guess we'll take that. That'll definitely help us once we get into the rebuild. But let's see who is going to win the Super Bowl here. My guess is the Raiders? I don't know. Oh, I have no idea. I'll say Eagles. No, the Raiders win it by literally 1 point, 35-34. So the Eagles lose back-to-back Super Bowls here. I'm sorry. I mean, a little bit different of circumstances here, to say the least, but, you know, they lose another, unfortunately. But hey, they kind of deserve it. A lot of Eagles fans have been a little insufferable lately, and I'm like the biggest Eagle fan defender of all time, other than Eagles fans. I don't know. But now, we are going to be getting into the rebuild portion of this, and this is where this gets even more chaotic, because almost all of these good rosters are not going to be able to afford their players. What did I just click on? Okay, cool. What was that guy's name? Excuse me? What is that guy's name? Mark Krasnodomski. How do you even say that? Where do you put the emphasis in that last name? Krasnodomski? What is that name? I have never seen that in my life. Where do they get some of these last names? But no, what I was gonna say is this is where this gets even more chaotic. All these good teams are gonna lose a lot of their good players because their rosters are too expensive, and it's gonna start to look like I just did a fantasy draft or something. All these players are gonna get signed by who even knows what team, and players are just gonna get mixed around everywhere, so it's gonna be interesting. But let's re-sign Derrick Henry. It looks like he is thankfully interested. We'll try neutral. I mean, worst case scenario, we can just tag him. We'll even give him a 3-year deal, 3 years, 44, and he doesn't take it. All right, fuck you too then. We'll tag him. It's not too bad, 16 mil. We will also try to re-sign Sean Murphy-Bunting, but he also rejected us, so I mean, if we don't get him back, there should be some good free agent corners this year, obviously. So he does re-sign though. Okay, cool. Surprisingly, Jonathan Grenard didn't get a dev trait. I mean, I guess he wasn't crazy. I feel like he should have a dev trait in this game regardless. He's very underrated, which, you know, shout out to Brett Coleman, apparently. Apparently he shares that same opinion. He did like a video on the NFL channel of like 5 very underrated players, and, you know, he mentioned my boy Jonathan Grenard. We take those, but we'll re-sign him, or at least try to. 3 years, 25 mil, and he does re-sign another underrated player, Tavierre Thomas, but he's 28. We won't re-sign him. Another very underrated player, Blake Cashman. But no, I don't think we're gonna re-sign like any of these guys because A, we're pretty broke, and B, a lot of them are older, and there should be a lot of good free agent options available. I will re-sign Aaron Brewer, or at least try to. 3 years, 20 mil? Okay, he re-signs. Actually, Tavierre Thomas did have a lot of picks, right? We'll see if there's anyone else good in free agency. Let's see if there's anyone good we can sign. We'll also go over like who the best available free agents sign with. Probably only for this year. I probably won't do that next year, but we'll check it out. Oh, well, the Eagles apparently couldn't afford Saquon. That's unfortunate for them. This would be an amazing year to need a running back, though. Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler. A little bit of a fall off after that. I think Damian Harris, another underrated player. I'll use that word again. But let me get a look through here and we'll see what we want to do. And I'll also see if we can restructure any deals because we are broke. Okay, well, this is all we're going to be doing in free agency. We're going to go for Michael Pittman and Jordan Brooks. And speaking of the Seahawks, you guys should go follow me on Twitter or X or whatever. I'm not calling it X. Go follow me on Twitter. Link to that in the description. I've been doom posting about the Seahawks for the last like week. No, for my entire life pretty much. But especially in the last few days because I know what's going to happen in the Cowboys game. I guess this video will come out after the Cowboys game. That's interesting. Maybe it'll be much better than I think it'll be, but I don't think it's going to be very fun. So if you want to see me complain even more than I do in my videos, go follow me on Twitter. Again, link in the description. You'll be one of the first like 150 followers. I have like no followers on there, so y'all should do that. But anyways, enough plugging. I think it's therapeutic to complain, and I want people to complain too. So be my therapist. Link in the description. Please and thank you. Anyways, we're gonna go for Michael Pittman and Jordan Brooks. We have like 0 linebackers. I think we have Jack Gibbons. Is that who we have? No, I get all the Titans linebackers mixed up. They have like 14 white linebackers. There's like Jack Gibbons, Chance Campbell, fucking, I don't even know who. But we have one and he's like a 64 overall. So let's see if either of these two players want to sign. They do. And now, I mean, this team's kind of cooking. Really, our only problem on offense, I would say, was George Fant at tackle. We'll try to address that in the draft, but maybe Daniel Brunskill can be better. I don't know. And we do still need a D lineman, but that's something we can draft. Maybe we draft another corner. And it was Chance Campbell. That's the linebacker we have here. Yeah, I wasn't exaggerating. We had one 64 overall linebacker, and that's that's it. So we'll definitely need to draft a linebacker, D lineman, maybe a corner, and maybe a tackle, but I don't know if tackle's my biggest priority right now for this team. We could even move Peter Skoronski to right tackle if we wanted to, and just have like Jarrett Patterson, I guess. Which, how many Jarrett Pattersons are there in the NFL? At least 2, because there's him in the running back from what, Buffalo? I don't know. Either way, let's get to the draft, and I'm curious to see who has the number 1 pick. I mean, I should know because we saw who the worst teams were, and I can easily check right now, but I don't want to. We'll see when we get to the draft. Well, that's a sign of things to come, isn't it? That's foreshadowing for tonight. The Seahawks have the worst, or the best pick, I guess, but we're the worst team in the NFL. Maybe my doom posting, my pessimism is for good reason. I don't know. Madden's trying to tell me something here. Is this about to be the actual record for biggest blowout game of all time? I mean, we almost saw it if the Dolphins didn't like take pity on the Broncos, or I guess that wasn't, biggest blowout, but most points ever scored, almost. But maybe we'll see, part 2 of that. Maybe it'll come to fruition tonight against the Cowboys. But either way, we have the 28th pick. There are a few options we could go with here. There is, oh, well, he's not really a scheme. Well, I mean, he could be, but I don't want another outside linebacker. Vince Greenfield does look pretty good, though. His play rec is bad. Maybe I take that back. And his combine wasn't great or anything. We could go with a D lineman, though, which is what I want, not necessarily a, edge rusher. Marquise Dunn looks, ooh, he has good speed. We could go with him next round if he's available. I don't know if I want to take him yet, though. But to be fair, I don't know what else I want to do if we don't go with him. Kadeem Waddle, or Waddell. I guess that's kind of spelled Waddell, but I'll say Waddle. He looks pretty good. He has A zone, really good speed and strength. I'm a little scarred because I think I took a player exactly like him and he was like a 68 overall. So hopefully that's not the case. Ooh, this guy skipped the combine. Clayton Clay. That's an interesting name. Dude eats clay for breakfast. Like, what kind of name is that? Who were his parents? He actually looked good, though. He had great speed. Okay, this is interesting. There isn't really a player right here that we necessarily need to take yet that I want, unless we go Waddell, but I kind of like the name value of Clayton Clay. I'm not gonna lie. And he looks about the same, so you know what? We'll trade down a tiny bit if we can, but if not, we might just take Clay right here. Like, I don't really give a shit about trading down. I know it's cool to add value and all that, but really, I'd take about the same players either way and then just pass the rest of the picks off to the CPU. So it doesn't really change a whole lot. Well, that's a lot of garbage picks in that trade. I mean, I guess a 4th isn't bad, but why would I do this trade? I mean, unless the Browns are projected to be bad in 2 years, but which I guess they might be. We took every player from them, or did we give them no, we gave them every player. So, or did we? I don't know. I'm getting confused. Let's just trade down with the Seahawks. That's like 5 picks and we get a 4 and a 7. That's like not great, but it's better than anything else here. Or not even picks, like 4 picks, whatever, close enough. No, it might be 5 picks. I don't know. Math is hard. Let's go with Clayton Clay, though. I don't know if he's even good, I'm gonna be honest, but his zone is good. He's great speed, apparently. He skipped the combine and his pro day. Was he hurt? Probably. He has C to F injury. These players, these combine missers, are very hit or miss. They could be very good. They could be very bad, at least in terms of like dev trait. But again, I like the name, so let's take him. And he has hidden dev. Interesting. Very interesting. We will take that. Technically a reach because he wasn't supposed to go like 2nd till 3rd, but I guess it's the 2nd. But like the very beginning of the 2nd, so I don't know. Whatever. And is the linebacker still available? No. How does Melvin Ivey look? Is he good? Pretty good. The other guy was definitely better. He would probably be like a 69 or a 70 overall, though. I don't know if he's great. Ooh, that's some pretty good strength. Matthew Warner. Same with Troy Buchanan. I don't know. I'm really bad at picking like run stopper outside linebackers, though, so, well, I don't know. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm bad. Just like life. Ooh, Deshaun Dickens looks insane. Oh, he's only 20 years old? I didn't even know there were still 20-year-old prospects in this game. I haven't seen one in so long, but he has elite speed, borderline elite strength. It's great. 38 reps at the combine, 36 at his pro day. Good ratings across the board from what I can see. Yeah, we are gonna do that. Oh, okay, of course he has normal. Why wouldn't he have normal? An insane athlete, he basically can't develop. That makes sense. That's definitely why you draft an insane athlete, knowing they can't develop. That's cool. I love this game. I love life. Life is great. But I think that's all we're gonna do here. We do still need another linebacker. I can't totally ignore that as much as I want to. The problem is none of these guys look good. There's Forrest McKee, another interesting name. I don't think he's that good though. I wish I had him scouted. Who looks the best? I guess it might be Jose Spadell, even though he looks pretty bad. No, he's really slow and has bad play rec. It might be Tommy Spillman. Cody Cutler, relative of Jay? Question mark? But no, let's go with Tommy Spillman. Good play rec, potentially good awareness. That's about it. He has F pursuit, but to be fair, I don't know what else to do here. Also, how does, God, I hate this. How does Jose Spadell have solid speed with a 4.71 at the combine and a 4.64 at his pro day, but Tommy Spillman has poor speed with a 4.64 at the combine and a 4.61 at his pro day? Make it make sense. I don't know, but let's take him. He does have hidden dev, only 80 speed, but he might be okay. I don't know. Let's get to the draft recap. But here's how we did in the draft, and you know, it was interesting. Clayton Clay is actually really good looking at a 76 with hidden dev, not a scheme fit at all, unfortunately. We have a man system and he has 66 man coverage. Not great, not ideal, but we can develop that with slot upgrades. That's fine. At least he's a good overall. That's more what I'm worried about. And Deshaun Dickens, how is he only a 73? I thought he would be like a 70. Just not a very good tackler, I guess, and his block shed isn't great, but 80 speed, 90 strength should be a 73 overall alone. I don't know. That's interesting. Very disappointing player, though. And speaking of disappointing players, Tommy Spillman is a 63. I honestly thought that said 68 at first. No. Why is he so bad, too? I guess just the F pursuit probably isn't great for, you know, overall. Unfortunate. It looks like Kadeem Waddell would have been, wow, he has literally the same overalls. 76 zone, 73 slot, 71 man. He's gonna have X factor because we didn't pick him. No, he only has star. Okay, cool. Thank God. Was there a better linebacker we could have gone with? Spadell is somehow a better overall. He only has normal dev though. I'm just confused how that guy is as bad as he was. Forrest McKee, damn it, he's a 68 with hidden. All right, that would have been better. I guess I just suck at drafting. I don't know, skill issue. He looked good to me, but hey, I don't know. Anyways, let's get into year number 2 of this, or I guess technically the first year of the rebuild, but you know what I mean, year 2. I always try to complicate things. Oh, that's always my favorite glitch. That's not creepy at all. Love that. But here we are heading into year number 2 of the rebuild. It's almost the exact same team. I mean, we just added Michael Pittman and replaced George Fant with Titus Howard, who was supposed to be on this team to begin with, but he was injured, and for some reason in franchise, you can't players when they're injured. I know that's kind of how it is in real life, but even then you can come to like an injury settlement, so like you can do it, and I don't understand the point at all of that being a thing in Madden. I just don't. In franchise, yes, I understand, but when you're making rosters, that just makes it so much of a pain. But we got him now anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And then the defense, Draymond Jones was available in free agency, so I signed him. We will try to develop Spillman, I guess, but more than likely we'll just, you know, sign another linebacker in the offseason or draft a better one. But yeah, we're looking pretty good. Probably still one of the worst good teams, but by that logic, we're still probably one of the best teams. Oh my God, we had 37 points per game in the preseason. We put up 52 on the Buccaneers. That's interesting. But now let's get to the midseason point and we will see what is happening once again. Okay, well, at the midseason point, we are 5-1. The Jets are still struggling. Maybe I should have, you know, just left that team on the Dolphins. But honestly, the Dolphins don't do very well in this game either. It looks like they signed Chase Young, Eddie Jackson. Interesting team now. Yeah, this deadass just looks like a fantasy draft where half the teams just like threw their picks away. It's so mixed up now. But yeah, we're doing well, and it looks like most of the combined teams are still doing pretty well. It looks like the Jets might be the worst one at 3-4. The Eagles are only 3-4 too. That's interesting. I don't know about that. That's probably still one of the best teams here. I guess they lost Saquon though, and that's the effect it has. Not having a good running back anymore really changes things in this game. And it looks like the best team, the best bad team, might be the Dolphins at 5-2. And the Bills. No, the Bills have the Patriots players. Never mind. Interesting stuff happening here. But we are going to have some players to resign. Who's it going to be? Ooh, we have no money. And there is Derrick Henry, Nico Collins, which, we have other receivers to be fair. D-Hop. top, so maybe we won't have other receivers. Draymond Jones, Jimmy Ward, Titus Howard is a starter for whatever that's worth. Ryan Stonehouse and Matt Gay. Okay, there are definitely a decent amount of players here, and we $4 million to work with, so we're not going to be able to do anything yet. Hopefully more money becomes available at the end of the year, but we will see. And now let's get to the end of year 2, and we will see what happens. All right, well, we have a hell of a choke in the second half of the year, and we finish 9-8, going what, 3-7 in the second half of the year? Were we 6-1 or 5-1? I don't know. But either way, bruh, the Vikings made it and we didn't. That's fun. What's their overall? Did they sign good players? No, they're a 77. We're an 84, and they made the playoffs over us. Cool. I mean, different conference, so they didn't really make them over us, but they did and we didn't. The Ravens still have a 90, so do the Raiders. The Eagles are an 88, so are the Cowboys. So there are still some really good teams that didn't really lose many players, it looks like. But let's check out the season stats. CJ Stroud wasn't that good. I mean, he was pretty good, but 3,200 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, that's fine. I mean, still a low interception amount, that's good, but only a 65% completion percentage. It could be a lot worse, but it definitely could be a lot better, clearly. Joe Burrow had 47 passing touchdowns this year. That's insane. Dak with 42 and only 2 touchdowns. Only 2 interceptions. Interesting. Derrick Henry with almost 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns. D-Hop with 900 yards, 8 touchdowns, but it was definitely more balanced this year. 750 for Pittman, almost 700 for Nico Collins. Oh, Titus Howard was terrible. The rest of our line held up okay. Aaron Brewer wasn't great. Laramie Tunsil was pretty good though. But we're not even a pass-heavy offense, obviously, so 13 sacks allowed, especially from right tackle, not left. That's really bad. And then Jordan Brooks led the team in tackles with 108, tackles for loss 17 for Draymond Jones, 10 for Tier Tart, and sacks 9 for Jeffrey Simmons, 7.5 for Will Anderson. And then who was our next best pass rusher? Harold Landry with half a sack. Our next best edge rusher. I'm realizing I forgot to rearrange the depth chart for the most part, so stats are a little bit all over the place here. It looks like it was a big rotation, but oh well. And then interceptions, 2 for Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Amani Hooker, and then 1 for Jimmy Ward and Clayton Clay. But let's check out these yearly awards. MVP goes to Dak Prescott. Of course it does. I'm really surprised Burrow didn't win it, but whatever. And then Offensive Player of the Year for the AFC goes to Josh Jacobs. Really? No Derrick Henry? Interesting. CJ Mosley, now on the Chiefs, wins Defensive Player of the Year. Also very interesting. Are we checking the right conference? No Titans. I mean, that makes a little more sense, but how is Derrick Henry not up? And then Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jerry Carey. Another fun name. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Markel Whitehead for the Ravens. Clayton Clay all the way down at number 9. Disappointing season for us, but definitely some interesting things happening across the league, it looks like. And we have our first, bad playoff team in the Vikings. So maybe they are good in simulation. I don't know. It's hard to tell for some teams if the players they have are bad or if the playbooks they have are bad. So maybe it's just the players. I don't know. But now, I actually want to see who the first round bye teams were. It was the Cowboys at 15-2 and the Raiders at 15-2. That makes sense. I feel like the Ravens should have been better. I mean, they were tied for the best roster in the league, but they definitely weren't bad, so it's not too bad. But let's see who these Super Bowl teams are going to be for year 2. God, it's going to be the Vikings or something. Or no, it's probably going to be Panthers, Raiders, or, well, I don't even think the Panthers are in it, but, well, they might be. I don't remember. Okay, no, it's Bills, Packers. Interesting. Two very cold teams. 2 North teams. I mean, at least they're both combined teams, but didn't they both underperform, like, severely last year? I said that really weird. I feel like those were 2 underperformers, but they both make the Super Bowl here. My guess is going to be Bills because they're usually better in simulation, but I guess we will just see. Probably going to be the Packers because I said that. Oh God, the Packers smoke them 31-13. So the combined team of the Lions and Packers wins the Super Bowl. The Green Bay Lions. That's cursed. I feel like nobody's going to enjoy this video because they're just seeing their their, favorite players on a rival team. And I'm calling teams shit like the Green Bay Lions and I guess the Buffalo Patriots. Ugh. But anyways, another offseason for us, no Super Bowl. I mean, we don't really deserve it. We don't have a great roster. I obviously picked good team with the worst roster, but we'll see if we can really upgrade it this year, even though it's going to be hard because we have no money. So probably not. And in fact, unless I can figure something out, we're probably, unfortunately, going to be losing Derrick Henry. Maybe we can figure something out, though. Let me see. God, I don't think you can restructure at this point in the offseason, though. So yeah, we're going to have to let him go. My plan was to, restructure some deals here and then tag him. Maybe we can do something, though. Let me see. We might be able to do that just by cutting some players. But I don't know if these players need contracts. It might do nothing. Okay, yeah, it did nothing. I think both of them needed contracts. All right, well, let's get into the offseason and hopefully we can get some players back. Where is all of our money going, though? Who are we paying at this point? Oh, now we have 14 mil. Why do we have 14 mil now? I guess the cap expanded? I don't know. Is that even a thing in this game? I'm just confused. But let's see if we can free up some cap. But in free agency, there are some good players here. There is Justin Jefferson, Aaron Donald, Zach Martin, Hassan Reddick, Derrick Henry, Ronnie Stanley, Tyron Smith, Joel Bitonio, Zadarius. There's a lot of good players here. The fun part about this is every free agent class is going to be strong because, eventually all these teams are not going to be able to afford some of these players. And that's obviously what's been happening here. I just scratched the shit out of my forehead somehow. That hurt. I wanted to go for a guy like Justin Jefferson, but I think it would be better for us to go for Devontae Smith, who doesn't have any offers. He's like half the price, and then actually be able to get Derrick Henry back, especially because we are more of a run-heavy team. We're a borderline run-first team. Going back and forth between Devontae Smith's face and Derrick Henry's face is really weird to me. I don't know why. Am I okay? There's something wrong with me, seriously. But let's see if we can sign either of these two players. I sure hope so. And yeah, we get both of them. Okay, cool. We were able to free up like a surprising amount of money. So, it could have been better. I wish we had more money, but it definitely could have been a lot worse. So I won't complain. Oh, okay, that's what I feared when I saw I accidentally didn't start Spillman. He has superstar dev. And now he's going to be useless because he's 24 and you just can't develop anyone past the age of like 23 in this game. That's cool. Well, we'll try to develop him, but it's gonna be hard. That's for sure. But now let's get to the draft and we'll see what we can do. Ooh, okay. The Panthers just up Shaquille Griffin off waivers from the Texans. I kind of like that for the Panthers. I mean, they might as well be, or like try to be as good as they possibly can. You want to get Bryce Young some confidence so they don't just completely ruin him. If I were them, I would just pick up like as many available free agents as I could, especially offensive linemen. I mean, that interior O-line has been disgusting, especially Chandler Zavala. They also signed Gabe Jackson. I think they just signed him to the practice squad, but two former Seahawks, I guess that's interesting. But no, if I were them, you don't even have a first round pick anyways, so there's like no point in tanking, even though they probably would have had, or I guess they still might have the second round pick. Do they even have their second round pick? I don't know. But no, I like what the Panthers are doing right now. They should go crazy with whoever would be interested in joining their team. But anyways, the Chiefs surprisingly have the number 1 pick here. That's not what I would have expected. I thought they would be one of the best, bad teams, but no, they were the worst this year apparently. We have pick 18 though, and what do we want to do here? Well, this linebacker looks good from what I can tell. The good thing about this draft class is there are a lot of pretty good looking linebackers. I mean, look at Ramon Whitefield and Julius Webster especially. I never checked these guys' combine. Let me see. Ooh, okay, they both had very good combines. We're not going to go with either of them yet. Did I say Whitefield? It's Whitfield. Either way, we'll definitely take one of them, probably round 2. I guess we could go with a guard though, if there's a guard that looks good. John Alden. I've seen that last name twice in this rebuild. I don't know if I've ever seen that name before in draft classes. Sean Morant looks pretty good. He has terrible terrible power, but that doesn't really matter for our scheme. Carlos Crowley also looks pretty good. That's kind of a cool name, I'm not gonna lie. I almost might lean the direction of him just because he has a cool name. Ooh, and this tight end, from what I can tell, looks ridiculous. We don't need a tight end, obviously. I mean, he's not very strong, but he looked good either way. So does Glenn Walton. I don't know, I guess we'll go with Sean Morant. He has a run block. We're a run-heavy team, so that works out well. He has almost elite everything. He has elite jumping, change of direction, agility, and excel, has great strength and good speed. Yeah, let's take him. He'll play left guard for us, I guess. I don't want to put a 274-pound lineman at guard, so we'll keep our center at center. We'll put Sean Morant at left guard, even though he's like a little undersized for guard, but the Titans use undersized guards anyways. Even though like putting thinner tackles, moving them into guard, and just having them get dominated by power is like one of my least favorite teams one of my least favorite things that teams do. Panthers with Brady Christensen, Saints with Andres Pete. But anyways, here let's take, who do I like more? Ramon Whitfield. He is a freakier athlete for sure. Webster's also a good athlete, but Whitfield only has C-Man, C pursuit. Webster has B-Man and B pursuit. Is that enough to outweigh the better combine? I don't know, pursuit is pretty important, but I don't know, Whitfield looks really fast. I think we'll go with Whitfield. Which one's younger? Webster, damn it. We could go with both if Webster's available next round. But yeah, let's go with Ramon Whitfield out of UCF. Hidden Dev, 90 speed, 90 excel. We will take that. We're in Kevin Byard's number 31. Rest in peace, Kevin Byard, at least from this team. Good night, sweet prince. Julius Webster is still available, but now we just don't need him. Is there a good safety? What if we move one of those linebackers to safety? I could do that. Yeah, why not? Julius Webster, do you want to play safety with 4.6 speed? Probably not. We would probably move the other guy to safety if we do that, but yeah, Julius Webster, welcome to the team too. Hidden Dev, 86 speed, 91 excel, 78 strength. This dude might be better, maybe. I don't know, the pursuit's pretty important. We'll see. Either way, we got both, so it doesn't really matter, but he could very well be better. But I'm just gonna simulate the rest of this out, and we will see how we did. I can't wait to be disappointed again. Okay, well, this was definitely a better draft than last year. We hit 375 overalls. Morant was a 74 at center, but now he's a 75 at guard. And then I guess there was no right answer between Whitfield and Webster. I guess Webster would have technically been better to take first because he's a year younger, but also doesn't matter because we got both. Which one would be better at safety though? I mean, Whitfield's faster, but he's also a lot bigger. I guess we would slim down Webster if we do move him there. Or we would slim down either one, obviously, but oops, I revealed that he has star dev. I meant to check the overall. He's only a 74 at safety. How about Whitfield? I'm surprised he goes down at safety. I guess that neither of them are like elite cover players, but ooh, okay. Whitfield goes way up at safe, probably because he's faster. So I'll like make him a little more realistic as a safety. I'll keep him the same overall. But yeah, let me change him around a little bit. Okay, I made him a little faster and weaker. What an interesting looking individual. I guess I'm not one to talk, but I guess we'll keep him like 220. Sure. All right, that works. But here is a look at the team at the Tennessee Texans heading into year 3, which I guess that's kind of a fitting name because I guess that's kind of the opposite of like the Houston Oilers. That's interesting. I didn't even think about. These are the Titans are pretty much the Texans in a weird way. They're formerly a Houston team. That's interesting. That's an interesting way to think about this. I'm sure someone's thought of that already, but I'm slow, so forgive me. But we have an 88 offense and only an 80 defense. Our defense isn't amazing. We don't really have a great corner. I feel like that's the biggest problem. Just our secondary in general isn't great, but maybe Whitfield can be great. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Webster's dev trait already got revealed. Is it because I spoiled it? Is that how that works? If I accidentally spoil it, does it just remove the hidden? I don't know. That's interesting. I know sometimes if you move their position, it can get rid of it, but well, no, if you change their dev trait, it can get rid of it. That's what it does. But like, obviously I didn't change his dev trait because if I did, why would I change it to star from like superstar or something? Maybe it just reveals it if you see it. I don't know. But either way, we're an 84 overall, probably still one of the worst good teams, but maybe not. You know, teams have definitely lost some players now. Yeah, the Rams, the LA 49ers are now an 84. The Panthers, the Carolina Falcons, or Carolina Saints are now only an 81. So no, we are not the worst. The Jags are only an 82. Falcons are only an 83. So we're like an average average one of the good teams, but like one of the better teams, obviously. And a lot of the original bad teams are starting to get pretty good now. A few of them at least. So we are slowly reforming back into the NFL. It's interesting. But let's get to the midseason point of year 3 and we will see how the league is doing. And at the midseason point of year number 3, we are only 4-3, which isn't bad. And we are 4th in offensive points per game and 7th in points per game allowed. So I'm surprised we're not a lot better than 4-3. Maybe we've just been feasting on like the really terrible teams and then just, you know, getting beat by the actual good teams. I don't know, but we just beat the Ravens. That's like the best roster here, other than I guess the Packers are a 90 now, which is interesting. But the league looks a lot more balanced this year. There are a lot more like 3-4, 4-3, 4-2 teams. The Packers are only 3-4 at a 90 overall. That makes sense. Who's the worst good team? The Cardinals at 2-4. The Arizona Seahawks, I guess, if you want to call them that. And then the best bad team, I think, is the Colts at 4-2. Yeah, that's also interesting. The 49ers are also 4-3, but the Colts are technically better by like half a game. And we are going to have some re-signings, of course. However, we have no money once again. On the bright side, though, it looks like, you know, there aren't any superstar players necessarily. Okay, those are 5th years. Never mind. Okay, there are no superstar players here, thankfully. So we're chilling. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say chilling because we have negative 1.1 million cap, but you know what I mean. And now let's get to the playoffs and we will see how the rest of the year goes for the entire NFL. But here we are at the end of year number 3, and super quick before I reveal what happened this year, I just want to say I had this announcement in the last video, but expect a lot more uploads really soon. Expect daily uploads coming in the next week or so. Probably next week it'll start. So, you know, big things coming soon. And I have a lot of fun rebuild ideas planned for the next at least, like, God, how many do I have planned? Well, 5, but I guess this was one of them, so 4 after this. I know already what I'm gonna do, and they are all very fun ones. So turn on notifications if you want to make sure that you can catch those, and expect my next video out on Sunday, and then after that, we could start going daily. We'll see. We'll see how early I can start it. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't already too. And you know what? I might as well plug everything. Be sure to drop a like on the video. It really helps out the channel and the video, and it helps more people, you know, see these rebuilds. But that's enough plugging. I just wanted to, you know, give that announcement if you didn't catch it in the last one. But we are looking very good as a team. We are an 86 overall. CJ Stroud is up to a 92 with morale, which I definitely need to raise him again in my rosters. I just, you know, I go down the list of teams that I'm changing their overalls with. Right now I am on, God, I just got through, so I'm like on the Chargers. I don't even remember which team I last updated. But either way, CJ Stroud develops really well in this game, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, in year number 3, we did finish 12-5 making the playoffs. The Jags also made it at 12-5, and in the playoffs, it was almost all good teams still. The 49ers were the only, you know, team that lost all of their players, which that's kind of confusing because in normal franchise, when they have their regular roster, they're usually not that good. Like, they do well sometimes, but they also do really bad sometimes, so I don't know. But CJ Stroud, 3,400 yards, 21 touchdowns, 5 picks, much better completion percentage this year, but very similar year to last year, other than the completion percentage. Wait, what was his yardage total last year? It might have been like 32. Yeah, it was 3,200. I was gonna say I thought it was 3,400, but no. But yeah, he's been about the same every single year. Passing touchdowns in the 20s, passing yards from 3,200 to 3,400, and, you know, a low amount of interceptions. And Derrick Henry, 1,600 yards, 5.1 per carry, 18 touchdowns, and even 13 touchdowns for Dameon Pierce. Unfortunately, we're going to be losing him, but still. Devontae Smith, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Obviously not too much outside of him. The blocking was pretty damn good, and Shaq Mason joins the all-castration team this year, allowing 0 sacks. Aaron Brewer wasn't great, but the rest of our line was pretty great. And Julius Webster, as a rookie, led the team with 101 tackles. He also had 5 tackles for loss, a sack, and a pick, and 11 pass deflections. Does Defensive Player of the Year factor in pass deflections? I don't know, but either way, that's a good year. And then tackles for loss, 12 for Will Anderson, Harold Landry, and then 10 for Simmons and Dickens. And sacks, 10.5 from from Harold Landry. We've had like a different number one pass rusher every year. The first year it was Grenard. This year it's Landry, and last year it was Simmons. So I don't know. Love the consistency. But Will Anderson, 8.5 sacks, 8 for Simmons. Interesting. Oh, we only had 4 total interceptions on the season. 1 for Webster, McCreary, Murphy Bunting, and Whitfield as a rookie. Interesting. Don't know how I feel about that. MVP finally goes to Joe Burrow. I thought he would win it last year, but he does win it this year. Trevor Lawrence at number 2. Brock Purdy on the Rams up there at 9. That's something to look at. But Offensive Player of the Year again goes to Nick Chubb. Has he won it every year? I think he has. I don't know for sure, but I know he at least won it last. He might have the first year too. I don't know. That's interesting. But oh, I almost missed Derrick Henry at number 3. We'll take that. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Quinnen Williams. Will Anderson at number 10. Surprised to see no Harold Landry up there. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Justice Barnes for the Broncos. No Titans. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Josh Rowland for the Steelers. Webster at 3. I was hoping he would win it, but he wasn't quite crazy enough. He was good, but I figured he would be like 2nd or 3rd or something. And then Whitfield at number 9. So no awards, but we got close on a lot of them. Oh God, were we 2nd for like, well, 2nd for a few things at least. Oh well, I guess this is more about like the entire NFL, so I don't really care how much about we do, or that's not English. I don't really care much about how we do. You know what I'm trying to say. But we are in the playoffs here once again, and we will see, actually, again, I almost forgot, we will see who the 2 first-round bye getters are, the 2 number 1 seeds. It is the Raiders and Panthers. Yeah, what does the X stand for? Are those non-division winners? I should know that. Yeah, I guess those are non-division winners, and then the Ys are division winners. I don't know. I've never even really seen that talked about much, but I'm just assuming that's what it looks like. Okay, whatever. Let's get to the Super Bowl, and I mean, my prediction has to be Raiders, Panthers. Either that or probably Raiders, Falcons. I think the Falcons were in it. Or Bills, maybe. The Bills could be in it for the AFC. Okay, that wasn't on my radar. It is the Cowboys versus the Chargers. This is the first Cowboys Super Bowl of the rebuild. I'm surprised. Also, are the Chargers good in this game? I've seen them in Super Bowls a lot lately, like once a rebuild. Maybe that's something to think about. Let me see what was good about their team. Was their offense or defense better? Their offense looks like it was pretty good. Their defense, not super great, but it was okay. We'll think about using that offensive playbook, though. I don't know if it just does well because they have Justin Herbert or what it is, but we'll think about it. But let's see who wins this Super Bowl in Super Bowl 60. And it is the Cowboys, 35-14. I was, surprised to not see them in a Super Bowl yet, and they win the first one they're in. That's not surprising, but it happened. Can't wait to see the Seahawks get absolutely touched by them tonight. Absolutely tickled. But this is going to be the final year of this experiment, I guess. I don't know if it's so much an experiment, just so much as me wanting to be, chaotic, but it is definitely a Madden 24 video. That is for sure. I mean, we have the 5th year for CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. These aren't going to matter because we're not going to get to that point, but I guess we'll pick them up. Peter Skoronski, too. He did pretty damn well at tackle, though. He was good. Only 4 sacks allowed. I mean, he allowed less sacks at tackle than guard. That's interesting. But yeah, obviously we can't re-sign anybody here. So let's get into the offseason. Let's restructure some deals, and we'll see if we can add any good players to this team. Hopefully. Okay, well, we are going to go for some good players here. There are some monsters in free agency, like Pat Surtain at a 99 overall. He's just not interested. Same with Aiden Hutchinson. DJ Moore's here, but I mean, like, there's no point. He would get like 600 yards for us because we don't pass very much. I mean, well, he might do well, but that would make Devontae Smith get like 600 yards or something. Also, Travis Kelce, Sauce Gardner, who we're going for, Jonathan Allen, Dak Prescott, Marshawn Lattimore, Trey Hendrickson. There are a lot of players here. I wish we had more money, but to be fair, not many teams have money right now, so I guess we can't really complain. But yeah, we're going for Sauce Gardner and Marcus Williams because, we don't really have a free safety right now. I literally don't think we have one on the roster, and I think we only have one strong safety, so I can't really move anyone over there. Or we might have like a 70 overall backup strong safety, but either way, obviously we want to upgrade over that, so we are going to go for these 2 players. Let's see if we can sign them. We do have the lead for both of them, and it looks like we do, so that is a massive upgrade to our secondary. I unfortunately did have to, sacrifice Harold Landry Landry, even though he was our best pass rusher. I can assure you he wouldn't be next year. He would probably get like 3 sacks in 1,000 snaps. But yeah, it saved us like 17 mil to cut him. That was kind of a no-brainer. So we got Marcus Williams and Sauce Gardner because of that. Or well, we essentially traded Harold Landry for Marcus Williams. They cost about the same amount. And we still need a defensive tackle, but that'll give us something to look for in the draft. And here in the draft, the Texans have the #1 pick. You know what? I forgot to check like who the best and worst performing good and bad teams were. The best performing bad team, oh yeah, we already saw it was the 49ers, but the Colts also did well. And then the worst performing good team was the Vikings and Bears, going only 6-11, and the Seahawks and Cardinals also going 6-11. Not great for either of them. But anyways, let's simulate to our first pick at number 27. And what do we want to do here? I always ask that question, and I never know the answer. So what's the point of asking it? I don't know. I am so bad at drafting defensive tackles, though. All these guys look like they would be about the same overall to me, but I'm sure there's a massive difference in a few of them. See, like this guy looks really good to me, but I'm sure he's not. Maybe I should just ignore like pass rush ability for ratings, because he has A, finesse moves. I'm like, oh, that's probably really good, and it'll probably be like a 72 or something. But he's really good speed, good strength. We wouldn't need to, well, we probably wouldn't need to take him now if we want to get him, but I don't know how much I do want him, honestly. Ben Dent looks pretty good. Let's just go with him. What even is the most important stat for defensive tackles, I wonder? I don't know. But yeah, let's just go with Ben Dent. I don't know. I don't really care about getting the best guy necessarily. I just want a good one. Javon Warner actually looks pretty good too. We could get him and then move the guy we have at defensive end back to defensive tackle. Yeah, I guess we'll go with Warner. At least we know he has probably pretty good power moves because he's a defensive end and he has, you know, B power moves. It'll probably be like a 77 or 76, I don't know. But if he was a defensive tackle with B power moves, it would probably be a 68. So, all right, I'm rambling. Let's take him. Hidden Dev, 91 strength, 85 excel. We will take that. And other than defensive tackle, what do we even need? Our roster's kind of complete. I mean, there are definitely things we could upgrade over, but I don't know if there's anything we could upgrade over in the draft. Maybe a receiver. I don't know if we can find a great one, but maybe a 4th receiver or a pass rusher. Let me see. There are never good edge players available past the first round, so we're not even going to look there. But how about receiver? Johnny Murphy could be okay. Slot receivers are usually good in this game, but they never have a trait. That's the only problem. Ladarius Merriweather actually looks pretty good. His juke move isn't great, though. We might take both. Let's go with Johnny Murphy right here. Normal dev, I figured, but he could be a decent overall, and just because we can. Assuming he's available, let's go with the other receiver, Ladarius Merriweather. I don't know if he's great, but he looks okay. Adonis Farrell actually could be better. We'll go with him instead. He actually looks a bit better. The other guy was probably better, but it doesn't matter. Neither of them are gonna see the field like ever, so it doesn't matter. But let's see how we did in the draft. Not great. Actually, Javon Warner, a 75 overall, like, oh god, he only had 74 power moves, but a 75 overall isn't bad for a defensive end, especially considering he has hidden dev, so that ain't bad. That's pretty good. Johnny Murphy's only a 72. I thought he would be a 75, honestly, and Adonis Farrell's only a 69 overall. Nice. Oh, there was an 84 overall running back. Damn. But all right, what's the damage? How good was the guy I passed up on? Let me sort by overall. Oh no, the guy I took was better, but both of them suck. Merriweather at least has hidden, but there was no way of me knowing that, so I guess I took the better overall player. Just unlucky, but it doesn't matter. So yeah, definitely an interesting draft. We got what we needed, and that's all we got. So let's get into the 4th and final year. But here's a look at the team heading into the 4th and final year of this chaotic rebuild. I'm loving the chaos lately, apparently, and I'm excited for the next couple. I don't know if I'm gonna do the chaotic one I'm thinking of next or right after the next one. Maybe next. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, expect the next couple of rebuilds to be, you know, very, very fun. One's gonna be, like I said, a viewer idea, and then the next is gonna be one that I had. But something similar to one we did lately, but expect them to be fun. But anyways, this team is looking very nice. 89 offense, 87 defense, 88 overall. Really, I mean, we don't have any problems anymore. We didn't have a great D-line overall. I would say we kind of do now and should by the end of the year for sure. We didn't have a good number one corner. We signed Sauce Gardner. We didn't have a great safety. We signed Marcus Williams. Sounds good. And we didn't really change much on offense, but we didn't really need to be fair. So now, let's just get straight to the end of the year and we will see what happens in the NFL this year. But here in year number 4, we somehow don't make the playoffs with an 89 overall team. We went in 9. I guess our record is our overall. I don't know. Where does an 89 rank? Oh, the Raiders have a 91 still. So I guess we're second? Yeah, it looks like we are the second best team, but that's, you know, still the second best team and we don't make the playoffs. Cool. But it looks like the Raiders actually did perform up to their overall, going 16-1. They maybe should have been undefeated, but close enough. The Bengals were the second best team. And who was the worst good team? Was it the Bills? The Rams? Oh yeah, we were worse, so I guess the Rams and us. No, the Cardinals were 6-11. The Cardinals have really gone to shit here, unfortunately for them. You know, that's really unfortunate because that's half my favorite team. The Seahawks, that's cool. Yeah, I'm super biased in my own custom rosters. My favorite team creates like the lowest overall roster here. I mean, I guess tied with the mix of the Titans and Texans, which I'm kind of surprised didn't make a higher overall team, but the O-line just kind of sucked. But anyways, let's check out the season stats. We'll go quickly through ours. Ours don't really matter because we didn't make the playoffs, but CJ Stroud definitely wasn't the problem. 33 touchdowns, 3,700 yards. The picks were a little high, but that's not bad. 68 completion percentage. Derrick Henry wasn't great. I mean, 1,200 yards is really good, obviously. 8 touchdowns, but only 4.2 yards per carry isn't crazy. That's still good, and, you know, especially considering he's probably 32 or 33 here. Yeah, 32. So that definitely isn't bad, even though it is his worst year so far here. Devontae Smith with 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. Even Michael Pittman had 800 yards. Definitely not bad there. The blocking was still very good. I mean, our tackle duo wasn't phenomenal, but that's pretty good for Madden. That wouldn't be great for real life, but for Madden, that's pretty good. And Shaq Mason, once again, is a 2-time all-castration team joiner. Probably a lot more than that in my past rebuilds. But Julius Webster led the team with 134 tackles. Tackles for loss, 15 for Simmons, 12 for Webster, 11 for Anderson, and sacks. Okay, that was the problem with our team. Only 7.5 from Simmons, 4.5 from Dickens, and only a combined 7 sacks from our, or no, I guess 6.5 from our starting edge rushers. Will Anderson got 2.5 sacks. I love this game. And then interceptions, 2 for Webster, Williams, and Gardner, and then 1 for a few players. That's fun. Our defense definitely let us down. But MVP goes to Joe Burrow. Again, he's been a monster in this rebuild. I don't know why, though, necessarily. Like, the Bengals didn't really get anything on offense. I mean, they got Deontay Johnson, but he's like their third guy. And that's, I mean, they got Pat Freiermuth. Maybe that helps. I don't know. But CJ Stroud was up there at 10. We'll take that. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Javonte Williams, of all players. I mean, he's not having the best year in real life, but his rookie year, he was pretty good. I loved him as a prospect. I always forget how much I liked him as a prospect until I see him. I don't know why, but Devontae Smith at number 9. Defensive Player of the Year goes to TJ Watt on the Bengals. That's obviously very cursed. Oh, I almost missed him. Julius Webster at number 10. I guess we'll take that. It doesn't matter at all, but I guess we'll take it. Ladarius Bayless. That's an interesting name. He wins Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Colts, and Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Emmett Russell on the Chargers. We have Javon Warner at number 10, our D lineman, which, by the way, you know, he didn't really do a whole lot, but he did have superstar devs, so that was a pretty nice pick. We've drafted a couple superstars in this rebuild. I've been having a hard time drafting, you know, superstar guys lately. They always seem to be star or normal, but at least we got 2 in this one, in Warner and Spillman, even though Spillman isn't that good. Oh well. But that is the end of our rebuild of the Titans, and let's see who wins the Super Bowl here. Or I guess who's in it first, and then we'll see who wins it. I'll try to predict it again, even though I haven't been... No, I guess the last one right? I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, yeah, the 2 teams I always call the most unfairly broken teams in this game, the Raiders versus the Panthers. Isn't that fun? Don't the Panthers have, like, one of the worst rosters for, like, one of the good teams right now? Well, they're an 84, It's definitely not the best. I guess it might not be the worst. Yeah, the Eagles are kind of bad now. I mean, not bad. An 84 isn't bad, but it's like average here. And yet we couldn't even make the playoffs with a goddamn 89. I love that. But anyways, let's simulate this game and we will see who wins the Super Bowl in the final year. My guess is the Raiders, but very well could be the Panthers. And it is the Panthers, 35-28. So what did we learn from this rebuild? Don't ask me. I don't know. The Raiders and the Chiefs combined is apparently really good, not just in simulation, but that roster was ridiculous. And once again, we cemented that overall literally doesn't matter at all in this game. It's all about the playbooks. Fun. That's how it should be, in a game mode where you're supposed to look for higher overall players. But of course, that is the end of today's video. This was a very interesting one. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It was kind of different from much I've ever done. I mean, it's still franchise and a rebuild, but it's a different rebuild. So again, if y'all enjoyed, 1,200 likes, and I'll do something similar to this that I have planned. I also have another plan that I don't know if people would really want to see it, but it's very similar to this, just very different in a way. I don't know. Again, 1,200 likes and I have a few more ideas. Let me know any fun rebuild ideas y'all have down below, and of course subscribe if you haven't already, because all I post are Madden rebuilds. But on screen now is probably a video that YouTube thinks you would like, so feel free to watch that if you want to. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see y'all again in the next video. Goodbye.